What up? This is Robert Horry.
Horry, three-pointer. Buries it!
You might know me as Big Shot Bob.
To Horry for three. Oh, unbelievable. This guy is off the charts.
What's going on, Big Shot Bob?
Robert Horry from downtown.
All right. Starting with a little Matthew McConaughey this week. All right. It is a Big Shot Bob podcast. No B-Dog this week. Man, he's working. So right now, it's me, Rob Jenners. That, of course, 7-time NBA champion, Robert Horry. And I say for now because we got a guest this week, and we got a good guest this week. We're going to be joined in a few minutes here by Dominique Wilkins.
Human highlight.
The human highlight reel. And we'll talk about it when Nique gets on. But Nique was my favorite player growing up. Loved watching Dominique play. I was a Hawks fan because of Dominique Wilkins. So I'm excited, man. There's a lot to I want to get Nique's take on, oh my God, just so much stuff that happened this week. He's going to join us here in a minute. But quickly off the top, we'll ask Nique about it when he gets on. Embiid lays 70. 70. I mean, on the anniversary of the 81-point Kobe game, he throws up 70, which apropos and beautiful.
Crazy.
But it's been probably. I mean, I can't remember the last time. It's probably been since the Kobe game, since we've seen someone just have a night like that.
Well, on the backside of that, you get Karl Anthony Towns to go for 60 in a losing effort.
In a losing effort.
Hey,
bro.
Does that really count, though, when you lose to score that many points?
The points count either way, but yeah, when you have a night like that, should have been the highlight. Should have been Karl Anthony Towns goes for 60. No, Embiid goes for 70.
Yeah, but Embiid goes for 70, man, against, I think what was the funniest part was when he walked on the court, he looked at Wenbanyama and like, oh, damn, he is tall.
Yeah.
And then he said, in the back of his mind, like, oh, yeah, I'm about to light his ass up.
He ate him for lunch. I mean, he just devoured him. It was, but I mean, like, and we talk about this a lot, and we're going to talk about this with Nique here in a second, but there's years when you can just see that guys are on another level, and everything I've seen so far from Embiid this season, he's just as good as he's been. He seems like he's even elevated a little bit more this year.
Yeah.
Which is
think
nuts.
About it's like in this game, let's take this game because he only shot 2 threes, made 1. So that goes to show you that you don't have to shoot threes in this game to get buckets. Even though he took 41 shots. Yeah. I don't think I got 41 shots in 40 games playing for the Lakers and Spurs. but they put up 70 and go to work, still getting assists, 18 rebounds. Embiid he's like a man on a mission this year.
He really
is.
It's
almost like he's saying, you know what? I won MVP in a losing cause last year. I don't give a shit about MVP, which has been words out of his mouth. I'm going to try to win a championship. And you think about it, if you look at the makeup of this team, they can do some damage. They can go far if they stay healthy because, Embiid is one of those guys, like some other guys around the league, we're not going to call any names, that gets these crazy injuries that keep him out of a couple of games. But I think he doesn't care about MVP this year. He got that one. He's happy now.
He got his,
He's trying to get that chip.
And I agree. I think he's sort of trying to show the league that everything that's gone on with Philly, I am the process. Like, you want to hang it on everybody else, it's me. You know what I mean? Like, I could do this without James Harden. I could do this without Ben Simmons. I could do this without anybody you've put around me. But six-man or comeback player of the year or most improved player, however you want to put it, Tyrese Maxey. I mean, dude, he's been exceptional. And I think a humongous part of the success Embiid has had is knowing he's got him out there for him,
It's so many guys throughout the history of the NBA that had this vet in front of them that was taking those minutes that they needed to show you, hey, this is how good I can be.
Hell yeah.
And this vet's out. So now if you get rid of him, you're going to see this whole process throughout the season. And I think this guy, without James Harden, has been lightening up.
You
It's
said
his
that at the
team.
start of the year. You said at the front of
Yeah.
the season, you're without Harden, you expected a big year out of him, and he's delivered, dude.
He's delivered. And the crazy part about it is like Embiid and him have this relationship on the court that reminds me of what Kobe and Shaq had when we won in 2000, 2001, because the pick and roll, knowing what each other was, getting out of each other's way when it's time for that guy to do his thing on the court. So this combo is probably, we always talk about best duos. And this duo right now is playing the best out of, Jaylen Brown, Tatum,
Giannis and Dame,
LeBron.
all those dudes,
This Tatum right now, this tandem is the best two right now to me.
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion.
They're exceptional. They are exceptional. But I mean, what a unbelievable night. Just watching him go for 70. So Nique's going to join us here in a second. We will get his take on that. Actually, yeah.
But how mad would you be if you put up 62 and lose, though?
Dude.
To Charlotte, of all people. You the best team in the West.
Hands
and you
down,
pretty much
best
lose
team.
to the worst team in the East.
Yeah. And on a night where not your marquee guy, and not to say Karl Anthony Towns hasn't been, but this year he's not been their marquee guy, goes out and hangs 62.
Yeah, Ant-Man, man. Some of the things that Ant-Man is doing this year is bananas.
Dude, he's fun to watch, man.
I want them to, because of him, I need to put him on TV more so we can see him, because his highlights are ridiculous.
Well, this may be the season that gets them more TV time. You know what I mean? Like,
probably next season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is the season that gets you to next season, where next season, all of a sudden you start to get some of these highlight games, these showcase games, these Thursday night TNT games and stuff like that. They haven't had a ton of that. And
they haven't had a ton. Because
dude, if them and OKC continue to play their way they're playing, you're going to see probably more of both of those teams next year.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't, and I hate to say this, but sometimes when you look at the things that had went on with, that Stifle Tower over there, that they don't take this team serious. Yeah. But this is a really good team. Ant-Man is really good. Cat is really good. Look at that. They got a team full of guys with nicknames. You got to be good if you got a nickname, right?
Got to be. And Gobert's going to win Defensive Player of the Year probably. It's like, at least it continues down that road, which is bananas. Yeah. That he could win another one.
It's always weird that this guy wins Defensive Player of the Year when playoff times come. His ass is on the bench because he can't guard nobody on the wing. I don't understand that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and again, that's where you show what you're made of, right? Postseason time. Like, you can win all you want in the regular season. You can have all these big wins. You can get all the little trophies and awards you want. When it counts, it's got to count. So I'm anxious to see what Minnesota's going to do come postseason time and who they end up getting coming out of the play-in. Because they're probably going to be the 1 or 2 seed if they continue at this pace.
And it'd be weird if they match up with the Lakers, because the Lakers are 50-50 ball now.
Yeah.
And for me, I look at Minnesota and I watch them play. It's their bench, man. When their starters go out, their bench come in, and they just they don't lose any ground. And that's the key. What people don't understand, when your bench come in, you got to be able to hold the fort until the starters get some rest. And to go back out there, you do better than the starters, because a lot of times the bench, when they come in the game, it's like, oh shit, the starters let them stay out there, let them play. They got a nice run going. So I'm excited to watch them in the play. I know the playoffs we haven't even gotten an All-Star yet, and playoffs are down the line, but I'm excited for this. Well,
this is the time I think you start to look ahead a little bit. Once you start sneaking in on the trade deadline and All-Star break, now you kind of go, okay. I think this is sort of where the chips, like at this point in the season, you can kind of look at the table and go, all right, I kind of see how this is going to set up. Yeah. Unless somebody just goes on a rip or somebody else just falls completely off the map, more or less this is kind of I think where you're going to end up being. It's really going to be the 5 through 10 seeds that are going to probably do a lot of flip-flopping. Yeah. But, I mean, I don't know.
We got how many more days we got 2 more weeks before the trade deadline?
Deadline is, about 2 weeks.
February 8th.
It's the 8th. Yeah. So
February
2 weeks
8th.
from Thursday. Yeah. So it's coming in quick.
It's weird because February 8th it always reminds me of the trade dedeadline, and plus that's my dad's birthday, so I'm always like, okay, Dad, did I get traded this year? No, okay, we can have a good birthday.
All right.
Or do I want to get traded? Because there's been some places, only one place.
Well, I was going to say, don't say some places. We both know only one place. Yeah. So listen, when Nique joins us, we can't talk about trade deadline and rumors because he works for the Hawks. So I don't want to. I don't want to get him in trouble.
We don't get him in trouble.
So we do have stuff to talk about. We're going to hold the deadline stuff until after our guest. Which, speaking of which, let's do it.
What's up, oh?
Look at my buddy. You know, I got a chance to play with Nique, so I'm talking about. We talk about. This
Right. Look, we played for a little bit.
At our old ages.
Yeah, we have for sure, man. I mean, I just turned 64 a couple of days ago.
Happy birthday.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks.
Hey, can I get some of that pension in, my brother?
Hey, look, man.
Rob's holding out, man.
Hey, man, we got to get it how we can get it as long as we can get it. Right?
Okay.
So let's go ahead and welcome him to the show. A legend, a true legend. I told Rob this, Nique. Growing up in Central Jersey, my heyday of the NBA was kind of like the late 80s into the 90s. And every kid I knew had a Bulls starter jacket because of Michael Jordan, except for me. I had an Atlanta Hawks starter jacket because of number 21, my all-time favorite player ever.
Well, thank you, man.
Dominique Wilkins.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you, man.
Yeah, growing up, you were my man.
I feel privileged, bro.
There you go. And you guys cross paths? When did you all play together?
But no, it was a funny thing. We had
right.
it was an NBA old school trip. Actually, Kareem was the head coach. Tim Hardaway was on the team. Me, Nique, and we had like
what, man, 7 or 8 young guys that were trying to play. Yeah,
G League guys.
That was in the Philippines. That was in the Philippines. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We had a good time though.
Man. So a couple things going on here. We want to get into NBA stuff. Yes. We know we're not going to talk about trade rumors or any of that stuff, and I know there's Hawk stuff we can't talk about, which totally cool. Totally understand that. From a 20,000-foot view, though, how do you feel about where the Hawks are, kind of as an organization? Like, how much have you talked to Tony? How much have you talked to Quinn? Like, do you think they're going the right way? You know what I mean?
To be honest with you, I'm like family with Tony and Jamie, his wife. I mean, just wonderful people. Our ownership is wonderful, by the way. And again, they're still trying to find ways to improve our team, for sure. I mean, our organization, I think we have a wonderful organization. It's been that way for some time, especially now since Tony Russ has been been our ownership. But, this league is funny. When you go through ups and downs as far as injuries and those sort of things, man, it's hard to find that chemistry again when you get guys that's in and out, When you look at the teams that's been pretty much, on the top of the Heat, it's a team that's had consistency as far as having guys on the floor. Now you can build that chemistry. Guys know how each other like to play. So that's always the big problem early in the year when you have those injuries early, and now guys are trying to find their way back. So, and that's our situation.
Yeah.
Nique, it's me. I've always had a lot of love for you since day one, playing against you my rookie year, and watching you at Georgia, and being in your hometown with home state and playing in Georgia. Was getting a statue one of the best things that could happen to a Georgia guy?
Man, short of a championship, yeah. The statue was like immortalizing you. You never take that away from you. And, oftentimes I ride by the building and you just kind of like, wow. That's me right there, And, sometimes I made a joke about that. I said, sometimes I ride by that statue and I take a long chair and beer and I sit on the statue. I say, big guy, we come a long way.
That's a good moment, man. You got to take those moments, dude. You got to take them. So, from as a guy who's still involved very much in the league and very active, as is Rob, from broadcasting perspective, everything you do for the Hawks and on both sides of the ball, we get this debate a lot from a lot of people that are like, man, the NBA has just changed a lot. It's just changed so much from the way that we've played. And Shaq used to tell us all the time that he thought the league was soft. And while I don't necessarily think that the NBA today is soft, I just kind of think it's evolved from what it used to be. Like, what are the differences you see from today's game from when you guys were in your heyday?
Well, like Robert Horry would tell you that. It was physical, bro.
Yes.
It was physical.
Yeah.
And the freedom of movement the way it is now, it wasn't like that back then. I mean, you could put your hands on guys just a little bit, just enough to kind of throw them off where it gives you somewhat an advantage too defensively. You look at now, the defensive players have no advantage. I mean, I'm going to just call it what it is. I mean, nobody's playing defense, And so it comes down to how quick you can get shots up, it's determined you wins or loss. I mean, you used to look at the scores, particularly this year, scores are in the 150, 155, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And,
NBA All-Star numbers.
Yes, All-Star numbers. So, the thing is that in the era, if you scored consistently, you earned it, because guys took it personal defensively. I mean, I playing against Robert Horry, the young guy coming to the league, his rookie year, he wasn't just letting me trying to get anything I want. Man, he played me hard as hell. And he doesn't get credit for this a lot of time, but he was one of the best defensive players in the league, during his young years in the league. And he grew I'm just being totally honest. I mean, he had the length and he made you work for everything you got. So them are the kind of guys that I had to play against and try to get by back because look, you may get your numbers, but it was hard. I mean, you had a long night, that nobody was going to give you anything. And then teams helped a lot back when we played. I mean, he'll tell you, we didn't want to play no power forward. No, sir.
No, sir.
He's 6'9", I'm 6'8", half, and we didn't want to play that. I mean, we had enough problems at the small forward position. And so now you see everybody switches. You never back in the era see guys switch a center on a point guard.
Yeah.
It never happened because you're going to get abused, because now you got that big guy on the island. Ain't nothing he can do out there against a point guard, but now everybody switched everything. So, yeah, as far as defensively, defensive players have no advantages no more.
That's one of the things that I talk about still to this day. We were like, okay, who I got tonight? Oh, yes, I got Dominique tonight. He averaging 30? Okay, I got to hold him to 25. You set little mini goals of what you try to do. Now guys like, oh, no, who am I guarding? We just switching it. It doesn't really matter. It's like everybody took pride into like, okay, you look at your month lineup. You said, okay, I got to guard Dennis Rodman. Okay, I ain't got to work that hard defensively. You would look down the line of who you had to guard and we're thinking about how hard you have to work defensively. Now, nobody really wants to guard anybody. Oh, just switch it. It's just, and when they talk about defensive player of the year, I'm like, nobody's really playing defense. Is that, okay, you got a 7-foot guy blocking shots. Is that really defense? No, he's not guarding nobody. It's just bad, man.
It's and one of the things I know you hear it all the time, Rob, when they get to comparing.
Yeah.
Era. And it's really unfair because every era is different.
So
but one thing I hate is because we had our time, it's their time. But when they try to crap on us to prove their point, that makes me really, really angry. It's like we never played before. And that's the thing that really burns me up because if you say that enough to enough people and you throw that stuff on the wall, some of it sticks. Because that people actually believe it, and a lot of stuff that J.J. Redick said, which he's lost his mind. So a lot of things he said about legendary players like Larry Bird and Cousy and people like that. I'm like, man, you don't have a clue, what the league was about in those times. You don't have a clue.
JJ really doesn't have a clue. Sometimes I think he throws stuff out there to be that next controversial guy to get paid off that. Because I'm like, dude, you don't understand. Like your era is combined with traveling, carrying, double dribble. Our era had none of that. You don't think that we could go into your era and be able to carry, travel, and double dribble and get away with it and average 10 more points? Like if you were able to do that coming down the lane with your athletic ability, all of a sudden take it from the right side of the court to the left side of the court with one dribble, everybody get dunked on. It's like, what the hell are they talking about, man? But it's hard.
Yeah, I laugh a lot of times because when they see highlights of us a lot of times, all they see is dumps. They don't realize how creative we were offensively and things that we could do. A lot of things that guys are doing today, I was doing back then. So it wasn't like nobody invented anything new. Now, listen, they have all the technology in the world to make them great players. But you take that same technology and apply it to great players back then, you think they wouldn't be better?
Exactly.
Yep.
So you should be quiet because you really don't know.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, that's something that the new generation's never been very good at, is being quiet. it's never something they've excelled at.
But I will say this: a lot of the veteran guys in today's league, they understand it. They get it. You never hear them saying stuff like that because they know the history of the game. That's what makes them great players today.
Yeah,
true.
And
true.
There's guys too that kind of skirt that line between generations that I do think get that. The one that comes to mind is Udonis Haslem, because Haslam just had his number retired. But Haslam, first thing he said, man, Haslam's doing his little interviews for his retirement and his number retirement, and he's telling stories about like Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce. He's like, we're not friends. Like, I don't want to see those guys. We run into each other at the grocery store. It's on. Like, he just said flat out. Like, those are the today's NBA. Everybody talks. Everybody's buddies. Everybody hangs out. We all go to each other's birthday parties. It's like,
Well, he's right. And, Robert tell you, we've been knowing us for years, but we never been on vacation together. We're not godfather to each other's kids.
No.
We would probably do it now. You know why? Because we're not competitors anymore. We just love the stories to get together as those old school guys. We just like to talk about the times we played, and then you talk about your family. But as a competitor, you didn't want anybody to get that close to you. I mean, Larry Bird, and I often talk about Larry. Larry and I didn't shake hands for 13 years. I'm not going to sign you a jersey. He's not going to sign a jersey. We just didn't. Those things never even was thought of, man.
Yeah. It's just weird now. And for me, Dominique, the biggest thing is after games now, they had like the season's over. They go out and talk and hug, and they linger on the court for like 30 minutes. I'm like, what the hell is this shit, man? I'm like, stop it. If I'm a coach, I'm like, don't talk to nobody. Get your ass in the locker room. We need to talk about what just happened so we get the hell out of there. I got a family. I ain't waiting on you motherfuckers to talk to them. It's just everybody's friends, man. I think that's why I respect Giannis so much.
If I got my ass kicked, I am not walking on to shake your hand. I'm going straight to the locker room.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Ain't nothing to talk about. I got my butt kicked. I got to figure out a way now how I'm going to get him back.
And it starts right now.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even go out that evening or the next day until we had to play the next game, because I wanted to take that out on somebody else. Somebody kicked my ass. Okay, somebody going to pay for that tonight.
Next man up, going to eat it. Speaking of, by the way, we talk about like a lot about the old school days and like the whole comparisons and all that stuff, how unfair they are. The GOAT debate comes up a lot, and I'm not going to ask you about the GOAT debate because I feel like you played against arguably the greatest ever in Mike, just because he was what he was. But something came up this week that I wanted to get your opinion on. And Rob, I'm going to ask you the same question. Kevin Durant's name came up in this conversation this week, and he basically just said like, how come my name has never dropped into this conversation? Like, what have I not done? And when you look at Durant's resume, you're like, well, damn, he's got a point. He's won a regular season MVP, 2 titles, 2 finals MVPs, 3 Olympic gold medals, and he was on the NBA 75th anniversary team. So should Kevin Durant be in this conversation?
I'll say it like this. Okay, you got 75, you said greatest players of all time. They're all the GOAT. There's not one, I think, that you should put above the other. Yeah, we were in different situations that maybe we won or did win. But I just think it's unfair to try to make the greatest player of all time in one era. Because if you're going to do that, you start with Russell, Chamberlain, and guys like that. And of course, Jordan. That's where you start. But I think, when you have the greatest players that play the game, they are the GOAT. I just don't believe in one guy. I just don't. Because if you're going to do that, when I talk about Michael Jordan, I said, let me put it to you this way. How many people you know can win 3 championships, play another sport, retire, play another sport, come back and win 3 more in a row?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm gonna go and say this: it ain't got nothing to do with the greatest players ever, but some of the greatest winners ever. We on the podcast with one of them, Robert Horry. Well, you had 9 rings, Robert.
I wish only 7.
Oh, listen to you, only 7.
I was close. Only 7. Only 7. I wish I had only 1. You got 7 rings, man. So when you talk about winning attitude and know what it takes, you've been there. You've been there. And it ain't got nothing to do with you being the greatest player or a good player. You've been in winning situation where you've been an integral part of those teams that you won with. And it doesn't matter if you're the main guy or if you're the guy who's that complementary player. You know, so I look at the game differently than most, you know. It's what you contribute to the game during your tenure.
So this is going to be the easiest question for you. It was kind of easy for me too. So we like to ask guys, do you remember the guys drafted ahead of you?
I do.
Wow. It's amazing.
You know what? I thought, hey, when I came out.
This is easy for him,
amazing.
though.
Hey, so when I came out, I was told, well, right before I came out, I was told if I come out early, I was going to be number 1 pick to the Lakers.
Yes.
You know,
I hear this story from James all the time.
Yeah, Jerry West wanted me, but Jerry Buss wanted Worthy. But West actually wanted us both, and he tried to get us both in that draft. So I knew if I didn't go 1, I was going to go 3rd. And Terry Cummings went 2nd pick to the Clippers. And I did not want to go to Utah Jazz at that time. And they said, well, Nique, you're going to play power forward. Adrian Dantley going to play small forward. I said, well, y'all better trade me today. I'm not playing power forward. I'm 205 soaking wet. I'm not playing power forward. I said, don't even call me until you're serious. And so I was traded not too long after that. So, yeah, I remember the guys who went ahead.
Man.
See, and that's one of the things that's always people are always amazed that when guys go ahead because she's like, you look at the guys ahead, you're like, oh, I'm trying to bust their ass every time. And then you try the guys behind you, say, I'm going to show you why I was drafted ahead of you.
You know what? Worthy and I had a conversation not too long. We was at the All-Star game a couple of years ago. And, you could still feel a little tension because we're such competitors. In high school, we were the greatest small forwards in the country at that time. And we all wanted to know who the best were, but we never had a chance to play against one another. Yeah. And so it wasn't until I played against him in college, with our first time we had a chance to play. He said, Nique, man, it was just too bad we didn't have a chance to compete in high school. I said, yeah, Jay. I said, it probably been some problems because we were pretty good, but we were just such competitors. When we played against each other, we wanted to play great against one another. And that's one of the people I have more respect for than a lot of guys I have played against in my career because of what we came through as young guys. And ultimately, we became Hall of Famers and, top 75 together. That is a special person in my life because of, coming out of North Carolina and what we accomplished.
That's just so weird that you two never crossed paths in high school, though.
Nah, man. Yeah, he was in Gastonia and I was in Little Washington, and it was whole.
Sleepy used to kill both of you.
I heard Sleepy
used to kill both of you guys, though.
Yeah. I mean, they tried to get both of us. Jerry West, man. I'm gonna tell you. Can you imagine that team?
Oh my God. Oh, forget it.
Because Worthy was a forward. He could play both forwards because he was a little bigger than me. Mm-hmm. And so through his career, he played both forwards, Yeah. And man, I just had to run with my hands up and Magic gonna deliver it right to your hands. You didn't have to do nothing but run.
Yeah. Was there a guy that you never got a chance to play against in the league that you wish you had a chance to maybe compete against?
During my time in the NBA?
Yeah.
Hey, I played against all the guys that I dreamed of playing against. That started with Dr. J. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I wouldn't change a thing.
That's cool.
Like for me, it was only one person. It was Larry Bird. Larry Bird's back start. He missed that season because of his back. Because growing up, I loved Nique. Got a chance to play against him, Pippen, Worthy before, and then of course Magic when he came back. So for me, I got to play against those five. Those five were the guys that you always want to play against guys that are around your height, 6'8", 6'9", and I got those guys out of the way, and I was happy to see Bird. Bird was like, "Damn it, Bird! Why'd you have to hurt your back?"
and I'm telling you, Robert Horry hacked the hell out of you. One of the young guys hacked the hell out of you, man. I'm like, brother, can you get this guy's hands off of me, please?
Hey, that's from the SEC, man. You know how we play the SEC.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, y'all two know. Y'all two both were there.
We share that SEC too now.
Yeah, y'all two both were there.
Yeah. But it wasn't the guys I had a lot of fun playing against Rob, man. Them Houston teams, oh my goodness, man. They were strong. They were strong.
The reason he say that, Rob, because they ended our winning streak. We rolled up in Atlanta when we started the season with 12-0. Man, you talk about an ass whooping, man. Nique was
last night, I'm not lying, Rob. I just saw that game last night.
Seriously?
I watched the highlights.
Did you?
It just popped up on my feet. I'm like, oh, I wonder, did he put this out there or somebody else put that out there?
I would go put it out there.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob, it was funny. We rolled up in Atlanta. We got in Atlanta like 3 a.m. And boy, we just beat the Knicks. It was we caught them on a back-to-back. And we had just tied the record for most wins to start the season. And them mugs were licking their chops when we rolled in the ATL. Boy, they whooped our ass, man. Kevin Willis was killing Dreaming, which was an odd thing. And, man, Dominique was killing everybody. So, you notice I didn't say me. I said everybody.
They were tired that night. I think I had 40-something. I don't know. They were tired. They were tired, though. Yeah, I remember that game, boy. I tell you, I would not change those times for nothing in the world. As far as from competing, man, it was beautiful.
I think that era when watching you guys was, man, y'all were good, and I never understand how y'all never made it to the finals because
the East was loaded. The East was loaded.
Yeah, y'all had some bears in those days, man.
Oh, you had in our conference, you had Philly with Doc and all them in their prime. You had Boston in their prime. You had Detroit. You had Cleveland, the Knicks, Indiana. Everybody was loaded.
Good, yeah.
So
people forget how good Cleveland was back in there with Brad Daugherty.
they had no. Hey, you remember how big that lineup was?
Oh, it was huge.
Hot Rod Williams and Nance. That's averaging 6'11" across your front line. But that's the thing too. When it comes from a size standpoint, I'm not just talking about tall, but you had guys with girth. I mean, big physical guys. I mean, remember Larry Smith who played with Houston. Man, he hurt people. He hurt people, man. And so everybody loved to have a physical power forward on the other side of them.
Yeah.
You made your life easy.
Yeah. Because you need someone to come in there and like, okay, I got to, you want to hit my star player hard? Okay, this is where we're going to hit your star player even harder. So you needed that enforcer.
Yeah. When going back when you talk about guys who transcend the game and change the game, people don't really know how great, and I'm not saying good, how great Hakeem the Dream was.
Yeah.
I mean, these young kids, they would be totally amazed of what he was able to do.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, it's like people don't understand. He could shoot threes with the best of them. He just didn't do it, didn't have to. So
he didn't have to.
And that's what guys are, but he didn't shoot threes. He didn't have to, fool. So
yeah. And see, when people say that, it lets me know their knowledge level with basketball. Because they're like, what difference if it's a 3 or 2 and get fouled in the paint? Not only are you getting a 3-point play, but that other guy's getting in foul trouble. And they don't look at the game like, oh, well, he didn't shoot a 3. Hell with a 3 when you don't need it.
Exactly.
I mean, because, we took it, if it was available and if we, to keep the defense honest, but it wasn't like every time down because anyway, your teammates didn't want that. Forget about the coach. Your teammates didn't want that.
Yeah. And that's I think that's the evolution of the NBA too, though. We've talked about that. Now today's NBA is based on spacing and threes, and who can shoot from the logo, and it's like that can't be. I don't have your game, man.
I don't have a problem with people shooting threes. Who can shoot threes?
Exactly.
First of all, who can shoot? Robert, guys like him, could shoot threes. Reggie Miller, all them guys could shoot threes.
Oh, he was unbelievable. Yeah.
But when you got guys that really this maybe shouldn't. But I think you have to mix it up. Yeah, I love the fact that guys can make threes. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't change the game in it. You're still putting points on the board. Your confidence level goes up, and you get seeing the basket go down. But when you're not making that three, what else do you have? What else can you do? Yeah. And that's the thing.
My whole line is just get buckets, baby. Just get buckets, and we don't
get a bucket.
Nothing else.
Yeah, be it a 2 or 3, but you take what's available, and when things are not available, you create your own shot. Especially as a scorer. The thing that I mix. You know what? When people recently passed me on a list for 3-point made, I didn't even know I was on a list. I'm on a 3 points made list.
What?
For me, it was a bullshit stat because I didn't rely on that. I took it if it was available. But my objective was to get a foul on the guy who was guarding me early in the game, because now I create advantage for myself. Mm-hmm. And he don't play you as hard, right or wrong. It's
so true.
Yeah,
and because you just gonna shoot threes, you're gonna shoot threes. But if you keep a guy guessing, he's shooting threes, he's shooting 2, is he going to the hole? It's like, okay, you can't. It's hard to prepare for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you one guy's name. I don't know if he ever shot a 3, but he was the most lethal scorer I've ever seen. It's Bernard King.
I talk about all the time.
Yeah. Look at his record and see how many threes he's made in his career. The guy averaged 34 a game on one leg. He had a bum knee. Okay. I'm like, so those guys would tell you the same thing that I'm telling you right now. If it was available, if they had an open 3, guys took it, and I've taken 9 threes in a game, So I'm not saying that I'm opposed to it. I'm just saying mix your offense up.
Yeah. So Nique, man, what do you do with your downtime, man? I know you work a lot. You got a lot going. Like, what do you cut? Like, are you out there with Clyde on the golf course, man? Because we can't get Clyde off the golf course.
Man, I don't play with Clyde. Clyde talks too much trash, but it's in a subtle way. So I said to Clyde, Clyde, we're gonna go out and play around golf. And he said to me, Nique, I don't think we should do that. I said, why not? He said, I'm really good, man, and you're going to lose. I'm like,
all right,
man, shut up and let's go. But that's Clyde's my best friend. That's my guy. I love him to death, man. And we talked often. Matter of fact, right before I got this call, he had called me, and I had to text him and said, I'll call you after I get off this podcast. But, there's a lot of guys that I keep friendships with, especially that I competed against, man, because it's always good to talk. I look forward to talking to the guys about, life, basketball, and even talking about the current game, because now we're not competitors anymore. So we want to know what each other's thoughts are, so it's kind of cool.
That's fun.
So, Nique, I didn't know we had something in common, or this might be just a rumor floating around that we were both military brats.
Yeah. My dad
know that.
My dad was 29 years Army.
Mine was 8. Mine was 19. I used to tell everybody 20 just to round it up, but 19 Army. I did not know that.
Yeah, because that's how I got my name, because I was born in Sobo in France. Uh-huh. And my mom early on in life was calling me Jacques, and I hated the name, because it sounded like a girl. I said, just call me Dominique, man. I didn't want to be called Dominique. So a lot of people don't know that Jacques is in the American terms is Jacques, but a lot of people don't know that's my first name.
So do you speak French?
Oui.
And that's it. And we're done.
So you know what?
So that means you got dual citizenship there.
I do.
Wow.
You know what? If I'm around it, I understand. And so I can pick up some of it, because I was in Europe. I spoke a little Greek, a little Italian, a little French, and so. But I took 6 years of French too. But once you lose, you lose it.
Yeah,
that's so true.
All right, man. Well, Rob, you got anything else? Or we gonna let Nique run, man?
We're gonna let Nique run. He's an entrepreneur. He's a businessman. He need to get doing his thing. I'm just honored that you came on, man. I've always tell you how much I love you, brother. Man, you've been one of my idols, and I appreciate you, man.
Well, man, I have so much respect for you, Rob. Even when we played against each other, man, I never had a negative word to say about you because you always was competitive. You talk a little trash every now and then, but you was competitive. Because there was other guys I played against, man, and I probably hate still to this day. But we all got them. We all got those type of guys. But man, it was a pleasure playing against you and those Rocket teams that the years that y'all were winning. And I like to tell my kids, about these type of relationships.
Hey, the reason he say that, Rob, is because he kicked my ass all the time. So it was.
I like playing against you.
So that's why you can't say that when you get.
I didn't want to talk about that. I didn't want to talk about that, but since you brought it up, y'all had some great games.
Hey, when someone give you 30 and when you can't talk shit when your mug we won, but he gave me 30. I can't talk no shit. He lost and gave me 40. I can't talk no shit.
Rob, you know what? Now that you bring it up, I think that guy I guess that's why I really love Rob.
Oh shit!
That's another story I'm gonna tell my kid.
That's about as good a place to end an interview as I've ever had.
Man, thank you, Nique. Man, we appreciate you,
man.
brother.
The pleasure is all mine, guys.
We love you, Nique.
If you ever need me for anything, I'm here for you, brother.
Thank you, man. You guys ever need anything from me back on the show, let me know. And be my
all right, brother, man.
Always,
have a good one.
Appreciate you, Nique.
All right.
Man, again, I don't mean to fangirl, but every now and then you have a fangirl moment. Do you have anybody like that, by the way, that you've gotten a chance to talk to? Anybody on any level that you were just like, holy shit, I've been a fan of this person for arguably my whole life.
Man, it's been a lot of people. I think the craziest one was I'm at this club and the late great Whitney Houston comes over and sits next to me.
Dude, oh my God.
And just starts talking to me like we go way back. I'm looking like, I said, are you confusing me? In my mind, so are you confusing me with anyone? And when she says Rob, I'm like,
she knows who you are. Whitney knows me.
Yeah.
Dude, that's huge, man. Whitney?
It was. And I said, well, she said, no, sit at the table. And we just sat at the table and we were talking. She was so freaking cool, man. When you talk about people who are at elite status and still are just down to earth, she was just, at that moment, she was just down to earth. Even though I've had the opportunity to meet, so many people because of being in the Laker uniform.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just being in the NBA, and that was just one of my moments.
That's got to be a big one, yeah.
I was sitting there like, and I'm so mad because that's before camera phones. I'm like, this is one time.
Gotta get a picture. Yeah. Meanwhile, you're trying to grab one of those little wind-up jokers.
Yeah, but I think that moment to me
that's a good one.
An ultimate moment.
That's
man.
a really good one.
I had moments where Patti LaBelle calls me out because I wasn't standing up.
You told us that story, yeah. Patty called you out. Yeah. That's cool.
And when Selma Hayek calls me on the phone and invites me to the premiere of Frida, all these people you look up to.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
You enjoy what they do, and all of a sudden they reach out to you. I think, staying on the basketball level, I remember Michael Jordan called me one time, and I'm like, first of all, I'm like,
you're kidding. When did this happen?
This is way, way, way back. And he was like, coming to Houston, I want to know a good spot to, go eat and hang out, just a chill spot. And I was like, I told him the spot. And so I slid in there on the slide to see if he was in there. He was actually in there. I was like, he took my suggestion.
Okay.
And of course, I never heard from him again.
How random is that, though?
I know. It was really random.
You have any idea? Someone must have just passed it on or something.
Probably Ron Harper. Ron's my boy.
Harp. Yeah, okay. That makes
Harp's
sense.
my boy.
Yeah. Okay, all right. That's random as hell, though. Yeah. Holy cow. And that's the only time you ever talked to him? That was it? Just that one time? That was it?
I've talked to him before.
Besides on the floor and,
but like on the phone? Yeah.
That's the only time. Casually outside of basketball. That was it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's random. Dude, that's random. random.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I do want to, since we could talk about this stuff with Nique, there is a couple things trade deadline related I wanted to throw out there. There are a lot of moves happening. a bunch of stuff I saw today, kind of inconsequential as far as I'm concerned. Kyle Lowry's moving, it looks like, out of Miami. So
yeah, that seemed like a money move right there. They're going to save a little money on that.
That seems like a salary dump a little bit. So there's a lot going on. But I continue to catch heat on the Dejounte thing, man. Dejounte to the Lakers continues to be the one that catches a ton of heat. And I'm just curious if you know anything. Have you heard anything about Dejounte?
Man, I've called one of my inside sources to see what he says. He said that they had a deal on the table, but they didn't want D'Lo. They wanted.
Yes, that was the one. That's what we're hearing from Atlanta too. Is that
it's like
they want a third party involved to take D'Lo. They don't like the Hawks. Don't want D'Lo. Yeah, they want Reeves.
AR.
They don't want D'Lo. So they're trying to work in like a third party.
Rid of AR. Yeah.
Yeah.
So but here's this rumors, man. It's like unless
it's all bullshit till next Thursday. Yeah. I mean, until 2 weeks from Thursday. Yeah.
But for me, I've never really worried about trades during the season as a player, but in the off season, I'm always like this. Okay, especially when I was with the Rockets and the Lakers, I'm like. But see, I ain't signed enough deals in San Antonio, for me to be in a trade bait. But
sure,
it's like the thing with people always, people from the outside when they talk about trades, it's always like, oh, well, he's still making money. But the part people forget sometimes is if you have kids in the family, your kids are in school. Now, school is just in the second session. You got to get up and move, and your kids are staying back. That can pull on your heartstrings so much that it makes you crazy. And so. And people are like, well, just move your kids. You just can't uproot your kids. Your kids got established themselves.
Right.
They got friends. They got and it's just it's the way of the world and the way the NBA and professional sports work. But I think people always forget. They think money can solve all types of problems. But when your kids are unhappy, your wife is unhappy, you know who else going to be unhappy?
Yeah.
You are.
Because that comes home.
Exactly.
That comes home, man. Yeah, no, I guess, I don't know, man. If it was you, and you were guys like Dejounte Murray, where you're trying to go out, you're trying to play. You're trying to have some success. You're trying to, get some numbers, get your team to some wins. But you have to do so with this thing hanging over your head. That I mean, that's the thing, too. Like, from everything I've read, almost everybody says Dejounte's going to move out of Atlanta. Like, that's a foregone conclusion. The Hawks are sellers. He's going to go. How hard is that? How hard is that to muster what you need to perform when you know that's just kind of hanging over you?
But here's the thing. You got to understand, you're on a shit team, and everybody is talking about sending you to a good team.
Okay,
and at the end of the
that's
day,
actually
you're
true. Yeah. All right.
You want to win.
Good point.
But when you're on a good team, and they talking about sending you by a team that has
keeps popping up. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that's when it's like, fuck, man, we can win a championship. I don't want to go nowhere. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. And I think a lot of times that's how people look at it. I'm like, at Dejounte, I'm like, he probably right now. Think about it, he had 35 the other night. He's like, I'm going to show y'all what I could do. This is what I could do.
And he 2 game winners in a row, back-to-backs. Yeah, 2 and 3 nights or something.
Yeah, so look at that. He's trying to show everybody what he can do because everybody that wants him are contenders. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing because, so many times guys talk about their numbers. They want to do this, they want to do that. I think 95% of the league at the end of the day, at this day and age, let me rewind that. Maybe like 75% of the league, they want to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They want to win. And I think, from watching Dejounte, I think Murray wants to win. And think about it, Lakers, you got an opportunity to win a championship.
Do you?
Yeah. Because when you got AD and the way he's playing and the way LeBron can play in the playoffs, anything can happen there. Okay. So you think about it, went to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Western Conference Finals.
I mean, Western Conference Finals.
Western Conference Finals. Yeah, no, I know. It's just
and you had a lot. Who else is like a lot of other teams that had even Miami. Miami went to the finals.
Yeah, they've been there a couple years. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of teams that want him have potential to either pay him big money, which I'm sure he's going to be happy with, or have a chance to get in the playoffs because Hawks aren't going to the playoffs no time soon.
Oh no, and if they even scrape their way into a play-in, dude, you're going to have to fight for your life because they haven't had the weapons. Trey's out indefinitely with the concussion, so it's like who the hell knows, man. I mean, you're going to be fighting your way just to get through to the 8th seed, probably.
The concussion part, it's like that's one of the things now. And after my son got a concussion playing football, it's just it's just weird, man.
That's a weird protocol, man.
Yeah,
I
because
saw it a lot in the NFL playoffs this weekend.
Yeah, with
this
the
past
lights,
Just
and
the
not knowing
lights,
where
and
you
then
at.
it's like the minute you see the blue tent go up. You know what I mean? Like they bring a
Yeah.
guy off the field, and here comes the blue pop-up tent. You're like, oh, shit, here we go.
Yeah.
All right. He's going to be off the field for a few minutes.
Speaking of football, that was some good football this weekend.
Dude, I enjoyed the hell out of that, man.
Yeah, I did too.
That's the thing too, man. The NFL playoffs don't disappoint. They really rarely do they disappoint. But Baltimore showed you why they're the number one. They just came out and blew the doors off Houston. Like that game was close for a minute, and then it was just like they put the throttle down. That was it.
They hit that third corner. I'm like, ooh, oh, you too close.
Yep, and they just took off.
But man, I'm not even a Green Bay Packers fan, but I love watching that Green Bay team, man.
Dude, Green Bay gave San Francisco everything they could handle, man. They had to come back from behind. They were down a touchdown going into the fourth quarter.
I jumped on the Green Bay bandwagon for me. I'm like, okay, Green Bay.
Yeah.
You think about this is another situation. Think about you move out the old man, and then you bring in the young guy. Says, hey, you in my way. And I think he's like, he put up better numbers than Aaron Rodgers did, or something. He had a better year than Aaron, whatever it was.
Something like that. Yeah, no, he's in the last like 5 or 6 weeks of the season. He's been statistically one of the best quarterbacks that has played for Green Bay in 2 decades. He has been exceptional, Jordan Love, coming off. So, great to see Green Bay back on the rise. My wife is a Niners fan. So thank God the Niners pulled that out, because you want to talk about happy wife, happy life. I would have not been in the best place.
Yeah.
And then freaking Jason Kelce, man, upstaged everybody. Forget his brother. The fact that his brother scored 2 touchdowns. Shirtless, screaming Jason Kelce down in the stands with the Buffalo Bills fans, I thought was freaking and then that was the first time all year that somebody upstaged Taylor Swift at a Chiefs game. They had and there's that picture of Kelce in the window screaming with like all the Buffalo. I'm like, hang that in the Louvre, man.
I know it, right?
Shit is great. That's one of the best sports photos of the year, bro.
So who you got in the Super Bowl?
I think San Francisco's gonna take care of business. And I think Baltimore.
Are you saying that because you?
No, I genuinely.
make your wife happy?
I think San Francisco got all they could handle last week, and Detroit had. Don't get me wrong, the Lions have been a great story. They've had a fun season. It is cool to see the city of Detroit jump on that bandwagon and ride Jared Goff into. I mean, like, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the city. I just think the Niners have too many weapons. Even if Debo's in or not, I don't even know what the status of Deebo Samuel is, but I feel like the Packers gave the Niners everything they could handle. And they had, the Niners played like shit, top to bottom in that game, and still came out ahead and won. They won by a field goal. They didn't blow the doors up, but I think that they're going to get back to form. And I think the Lions look great team, upstart team. I just don't know if they have the experience, if they have the depth to cover everything San Francisco can do offensively.
Yeah.
And if San Francisco's defense doesn't play like horseshit, which they played like crap, the Packers just ate them alive in the middle of the field in that game. If they play well, I feel like the Niners can take apart the Lions if they play their game.
When I watch Detroit, it's like, I'm like, man, their defense is something special, man.
Dude, that defense is great.
Yeah, so
and
that's
the
one thing.
offense is just good enough. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be what San Francisco puts out.
But the good thing I like about Detroit, they 2-back system they got there with Montgomery and Gibbs.
Yeah.
Jameer
Gibbs is, dude, he's special.
I didn't realize how fast he was. I know he was fast when he went to Bama.
You saw him take off in that game, man. He broke that line, and he got outside contain, and that was it. There was no catching him. He was gone.
But I think the game to watch is going to be 2 of the best quarterbacks in the game right now. That Baltimore Kansas City Chiefs game.
That's going to be a fun game. And I, you know what? The Chiefs haven't been great this year, but the Chiefs show you when it counts who they are. And yes, you can hang anything you want on the Buffalo kicker. He should have hit that kick. It was a 44-yard kick or 42-yard kick or something like that. It's a makeable field goal. You hate it for the kid, but you left so much on the table that you can't put it on the kid.
You don't put it on him. Man. I don't understand. I'm not a football person. I love watching football. I never played football, but I can never understand. I know mistakes happen, and mistakes happen with a kicker. Why do people always, when they get down here, say, "Oh, we're just going to try to tie this thing up"? Why not try to get in the end zone?
They were trying, dude. They couldn't put it. They could not put that together, and that's where you look at Buffalo and go, y'all lost your composure down the line here, because you hung this on a kicker who, by the way, your head coach said every time he kicks, I just say a little prayer because we don't know what's going to happen, and the head coach said that about was it Bass, whatever the kid's name is, and it's just look, he's a young kid, he's inexperienced, this is arguably the biggest kick he's ever had to make. It's tough, and you know what? Kickers miss kicks, man. Yeah. Kickers miss kicks. They're not a guarantee, no matter who it is. Let me give you, by the way, this. I did bring this one in. I have the Korean call of the missed field goal. Just because I'm sorry, this is great.
다시 가야 되는 거리입니다. 타일러 베스. 오른쪽으로 벗어났어요.
I don't know what about that I just love so much. That's one of my new favorite sound bites. I get that to the wall of sound bites.
It's a complete crap.
That's what I said.
But you know what the biggest point in that is, I've never usually Diggs that catch he missed that bomb.
Oh yeah.
It's like you never see him miss that, and
hit him in the hands.
Yeah, when he missed that, I was like, that's a sign. It's almost like, you always say the football guys, the basketball guys, right there.
Yeah, that's
the football guys. Like, we don't. We gonna get.
They dropped a few, man.
Let Taylor Swift rock this one more game.
Yeah. Oh God. Can I say one thing? I have no ill will toward Taylor Swift. I really don't care. I'm happy she's happy. By the way, you spoke earlier about Whitney Houston. Everything I've ever heard is that she is like the most down to earth, normal, cool person in the world. I got no ill will toward Taylor. I'm not one of these football fans like, oh, you keep showing Taylor Swift. I really don't care. I do know, though, that the Super Bowl will be insufferable if Taylor Swift is there and not performing. It will be insufferable. They will beat that to death, and that's not her fault. It's the network's fault. She'll be on screen more than Patrick Mahomes would be. It's going to be insufferable if it's a Kansas City Super Bowl. She's going to be everywhere.
If it's a Kansas City Super Bowl, her and Usher going to have to get together real quick and do a song. Come on, baby. Got to do a song real quick.
Usher going to have to work her into the show somehow. I don't know how.
I'm Usher, baby. Come on.
We got to work her in because she's going to be there. And it's going to be tough to watch. And that's not her fault. It's the network's fault for leading in on it. But, oh, my God, that's going to be tough to watch. All right,
it's going to be bananas. Vegas, baby.
Oh, my God. All right, we're going to do the post-game presser. I have a few questions to wrap up the show since we don't have a game, since we have no B-Dog. I do have the post-game presser. So a couple rando questions I've pulled from a variety of sources. I do want to give out big shot of the week this week to Hulk Hogan. Did you hear the Hulk Hogan story? Okay, Hulk Hogan and a friend and his wife coming back from dinner on their way home saw a flipped car. This is in Tampa, Florida. Car flipped in the middle of the road. Hulk Hogan jumps out of the car, him and his buddy, run over to the car, and there's a 17-year-old girl trapped inside the flipped car. Hogan doesn't have a knife or anything like that to try and get her out of the seatbelt, so he uses a ballpoint pen to pop the airbag. Pops the airbag. Him and his buddy pull this girl out of the car until medical attention arrives. She's fine. Thankfully, everything's okay. They're looking into what caused the accident. But big shot of the week to Hulkster, man. Hulkamania getting out of his car and knowing enough to pop the airbag with a pen and pull her out. And like just a class move by the Hulkster.
Yeah, where they use those 30-inch pythons or whatever he used to say.
Yeah, the 28-inch pythons, brother. Yeah, brother. Yeah, no, I thought that was cool, man. Hulk Hogan jumping to the rescue and helping a girl. And, again, people do that every day, but I guess when you're Hulk Hogan, you get probably a little bit more praise.
Yeah, you get a little bit more praise.
Yeah, a little bit. But all right, so there you go. So
WWF Star of the Week, Huck Holster.
Oh, I love it. All right, let's do the post-game press conference here. Back when it was just me and you, when we started this show, we used to end every show with the post-game press conference. Okay, and then B-Dog joined us, and we started doing a lot more again. Jamie started doing. We started doing games and stuff at the end of the show. So we're gonna go back to the post-game presser this week. Me and you.
Yes, sir.
I already answered the first question. I opened the show with the Nique interview by saying he's my all-time favorite player. Who's your all-time favorite basketball player besides yourself?
Magic.
Magic
I was a huge
favorite
Magic
player?
Johnson fan growing up. I don't know if I told you, so I had a Magic Johnson poster in my dorm in college.
I don't think you told me that, no.
And yeah, and before if we had a game the next day, I would and I'm in the dorm, I would give him a high five like, yo, it's Magic time. You know, I didn't say it out loud. I just be like, give me some luck, you know?
Okay. So while all the other guys in the dorm got like Cindy Crawford posters up, you had Magic on the wall.
First of all, everybody.
Let me just say, Magic's seen some stuff, okay? That Magic poster's been like, bro.
No, I was in the athletic dorm. This is athletic dorm time, so there's no females allowed in our dorm.
Okay.
So, and I would like to say,
hold on a minute.
I never had sex in my dorm. I had to go to my girlfriend's room to have sex.
So there was, all right, help me figure this. The athletic dorm.
Yeah.
No girls?
Bryant Hall had no girls. It was just the basketball team and the football team.
I did not know that.
That don't mean girls wasn't in the dorm.
I was going to say, how many times did that rule get broken?
Oh, man, a lot. Let me
regularly,
just say this,
right?
This is a funny part.
So was there like an RA or some shit? Like who monitors that?
RA downstairs, and you had to go through the front door. You can leave out the back, but you couldn't come through you could only enter the dorm through the front where the RA was.
Well, some girls let you enter through the back, so.
So
I guess it just depends.
So the dome is shaped like almost like a starfish. Within the middle.
Oh God, we're just going.
was the bathrooms where you had to walk down the hall to get to the shower. So most of the time, people just butt ass naked. They throw the towel over their shoulder and you walk down to the hall. So needless to say, I had a teammate, girlfriend that everybody thought was so sexy, right? So we walking down to the hall, and all of a sudden she's coming from the football end, like half naked, and we all like, oh shit! And she walks by us as high and leaves. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what is she doing up here? And his room is this. I'm like. So we kind of kept that a secret. We didn't say that to him for a long time.
Yeah. And
he was because he was just so in love with the girl. Come to find out, this was one of the biggest freaks on campus. And I was like, man, she had been down there with a bunch of football players.
So she was visiting multiple guys up in the.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
And we felt so bad for him. He was like, dude, your girl. Every time he walked by, your girl, we would whisper, your girl's a freak.
Oh, don't do that, dude. That's wrong, man. That's torture.
So here, my question to you is: should we have told him that his girl was being promiscuous down with the football players?
Oh man, who was it? Not without naming names. Was he like a popular player on the team? Was he a star, or was he just kind of a?
He was. I was the star. Now, what are you talking about?
Okay,
no,
true.
He was one of the stars on the. He was a significant player on the team. He played a lot of minutes for. He wasn't a bench.
Then you got to keep it on your belt.
Yeah, that's what
I would say if it's a bench player, because here's the thing, it's gonna get in his head.
Yeah,
it's gonna F him up mentally, and I don't mean to prioritize sports over honesty.
I did.
But in some situations, so here's the thing: if the team starts to flounder because he's a significant contributor, you suffer for that.
Exactly.
So you go, all right, well, shit. Does my honesty hurt me or help me? You know what I mean? And if he's just like a dude off the bench, he catches like 5-6 minutes a game. At that point, you go, listen, man, we got to tell you this. We're telling you this because you're a friend. If he's a significant contributor, you put that in your pocket. And you hold on to it until the season's over.
See, that's the question you send out to our listeners. They always want to ask
Answer the question, listeners. At Big Shot Bob Pod on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us on Facebook at BigShotBobPod@gmail. Send us your note. Do you tell them? You not? Let's see. The Spurs were advised, by the way, this week not to contact Victor Wenbanyama after 9:30 p.m. Because he will be sleeping. He reads his book. for an hour, and he goes to bed. So no contact after 9:30 with Victor Wembanyama if you're the Spurs staff. Wow.
That's funny.
Did you have any rules like this when you played? Like, don't contact me after a certain time, or if it's a Saturday, leave me the F alone if we're not playing, or anything like that?
No, because first of all, dude, they pay you. They can contact you in the hell.
They pay you a lot of money, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah. I know Pop probably heard this shit like, who the fuck you think he is?
Pop probably calls me at 9:45 every night just to fucking get with
Exactly. Call you at 10 o'clock saying, you better have your ass in the bed, young fella. But no, that is weird, man.
That's a weird one, right?
That is a weird one.
What's bedtime in your house? Like when is I guess Chris ain't got a bedtime, right?
Well, Christian's really good about he has to be up and out the door by 7 o'clock. So he goes to bed. He tries to get to bed by 11 o'clock, and I try to go to bed by 11 o'clock too.
Okay.
So
Yeah, no, I'm
at 10 o'clock I turn the TV off.
I'm the same way. Yeah. 10 p.m. My kid goes to bed at 9. She's 11. She goes to bed
unless
at 9
unless I'm watching Jimmy Fallon or something. That's the only thing that keep me up if he has some good guests.
Yeah, well, yeah, Jimmy could get you some. But like for me, it's like kid goes to bed at 9, but usually by 10, I'm like, all right, let's call it, because I mean, my ass gets up too early.
10 o'clock, and then I'll sit there and play games on my iPad to about 11 o'clock, and then I go to bed.
It's funny because we look back at it, and my wife and I'll be like, you remember the days when like the night didn't start until like 10:30? I'm like, yeah, when we were younger. That was when you were
just
headed
talking
out,
about
man.
that too.
You were heading out the door at 10:30 to go to the bar, and I'm like, oh shit, man! If I'm not home by 10:30, the world's on fire. Like something's wrong.
We used to say, we scheduled dinner the other night at 6:30, and so we usually have dinner at 9 o'clock. We're like, oh hell no, let's do it at 6:30.
What?
And by the time everybody get there, it's 7 o'clock, and we out of there by 9 o'clock.
Yeah, no. If I'm not in the house by 10, something's gone sideways. Like, call for help. Something's happening.
Yeah.
All right, last question in the post-game presser. We'll wrap it up this week. There's currently a new Jurassic World movie in the works, if you can believe
Seriously?
that. Yeah, they're making another one. Even though I thought they kind of wrapped it up with the third Jurassic World movie, I thought there was kind of like, this is the end of it. But no, they're making another one. They've officially made too many of these movies now. What movie have they made too many of? Because for me, they've made too many Fast and Furious movies.
See, and that's the thing about me. I love the Fast and Furious series.
Yeah, you've made too many of them, though.
You know what's weird? I love this, but to me, Star Wars got so fucking confusing.
Star Wars, well, and that's the thing. I think after, so there was like the main movies, there were like 9 of them, and then it was like side movie, and then you're like, where am I in the timeline?
I'm like, who is this now? I'm like,
oh, they introduced this person in this movie that you had to watch for this series, and you're just like,
You have to have a list of people like, okay, now this is who he was who now? I'm like,
a lot of people. By the way, a lot of people would answer that question by saying Marvel. They've made too many Marvel movies.
I don't think they made enough Marvel because there's too many Marvel characters they can talk about.
Just it. So until you've gone through all the X-Men, you haven't made enough Marvel movies.
Exactly.
We got a lot of X-Men. You all think there's a lot now? Wait till we get into the X-Men. Holy shit. No, there's going to be spin-off movies in every direction for the freaking X-Men.
I played this, when I talk about playing games, and I played Marvel Strike Force. It's a game.
I played Strike Force, yeah.
And they introduced a couple of characters. I'm like, who the fuck was this now? I had to go back and like, oh, that's who that is.
That's right. Hold on, let me Google this person. I think I know who they are. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah. No, once they start rolling out the X-Men, man, forget it. You thought there were a lot of Marvel movies before. Mm-hmm. Oh boy, there's gonna be no coming back.